So we shift from Orgrimmar to Stormwind. So, just to make this a little easier, I also have a handy note, an add-on. It's called Handy Notes, Dungeon and Raid Locations. And this is where the Stockade is. So, yeah. Go past the engine back to the auction house, all the way over here where two guards, right here with the Meaning Stone. I'm just saying, it is possible, but it is very risky to come here as a member of the opposite faction if you want to do this dungeon at max level, though I don't really know why you'd want to, because there's really nothing here. You know, this is not one of those dungeons that has something that you would want to be farming, like Stratholme. Oh, don't worry, I'll get to that. That's much later. Or will it? Anyways. So, yeah. This is the Stockade. This actually comes into play later on in other scenarios, like the scenario in BFA, if you're a Horde. So, Stormwind Stockade is a closely guarded prison built beneath the canals of Stormwind City. Warden Fellwater keeps watch over the stockade and the highly dangerous criminals who call it home. Recently, the inmates revolted, overthrowing their guards, and plunging the prison into a state of pandemonium. So, yeah, just like Ragefire Chasm, very small map, very small layout, just very simple. Just, there's a boss, there's a boss, there's a boss. You can usually be able to access this dungeon by level, I think it's 18 or 20, I think. So you start off, there's a bunch of trash right there. If you want to pick up quests, there's going to be quests from a couple of... Here's the warden, by the way. He's just kind of... I guess he's here just praying. Ashleys, I'm afraid that I must ask of you the impossible. I received my eye patch because he willed it so. Countless, thousands have perished to his wrath. It was only by sheer miracle that we were able to imprison him here. I really want you to take a moment to just kind of smile and laugh when you realize who he's talking about. And you can see it right there if you know the history of this character. Doing so was a grave mistake. We held out as long as we could, but then they came from the shadows and darkness, gnolls in service of Hogger, ripped my best men to pieces. You must defeat the Gnoll King, lest he mounts another attack and slaughters us all in cold, bloodthirsty rage. He's talking about Hogger, just in case you didn't pick up on that. So, for some people, and I can understand this because I have messed around as a human paladin in WoW Classic. So I did the questing in Elwyn Forest. So I got to do the fight with Hogger. Hogger was one of those initial kinds of elite type of encounters early in WoW Classic that some perhaps had nightmares because, yeah. Remember, our characters back in Classic Vanilla were tissue paper. Yeah. So I just find it hysterical. He's talking about Hogger as if he's the most fearsome, horrible, terrifying, dangerous, deadly thing that's ever walked this earth. Well, there's actually kind of a funny story about that when you get to BFA and you come through here as Horde. It's kind of hilarious. Nurse Lillian.
Hello.
I'm well versed in first aid and other forms of healing, and with the help of my Lightwell, I've been able to nurse many of our men back to full health. The problem we still have is that it's so cold and damp down here that I'm losing them. Anyways, despite healing their wounds, the quakes angered the elements that reside in the prison. When they ruptured out of the earth, they slaughtered half the prisoners. If you slay their leader, Lord Overheat, and bring me his core, I can use it to warm our men.
See you later.
I don't think there's a quest for the third boss, but anyways. Yeah, there's just a bunch of petty criminals in this initial area here. Why do I hear the sleep spell being cast? Yeah, there's a ton of trash in these areas. So the first boss we're going to be facing is Randolph Moloch. Convict number AC317. Charges: embezzlement, fraud, theft, and homicide. Moloch has been identified as the ringleader of the prison revolt. Given his connections to the House of Nobles, however, the use of lethal force to subdue this convict is not authorized. Well, too bad, because that's what I'm doing. So this is a fight that's a bit frustrating because at times he'll go stealth and he'll jump out of nowhere. He basically plays like a rogue, where he'll stealth and then try to stab you from behind. And yes, there's a stab wildly, sweep attack. Yeah, when he reaches between 26, vanish, and then reappears behind a random player attacking them. It's kind of annoying. It's kind of a frustrating, annoying fight. So I certainly don't mind getting to basically be like, hey, allow me to introduce myself. I'm Randolph Moloch, and I will be killing you all today. They see he vanishes. Yeah. My epic screams, my great plans, gone. Yeah. Bit of an annoying fight. So then this wing, you'll see the various different elementals. I find it hilarious the amount of elementals that are here in the various wings and the cells. I'm like, seriously, they were imprisoning elementals? Look, Stormwind, I get that sometimes you want to put away prisoners, but come on, elementals? Seriously? So this is Lord Overheat. Convict number NA, Lord Overheat. Charges: homicide, multiple counts. The natural disasters wrought by the cataclysm caused elementals to erupt into the prison complex, slaughtering half of the inmates upon arrival. So that explains why some of them are even in the cells, because apparently they just erupted into the cells and just killed the inmates who were in there. Removing these incense threats is imperative to restoring order to the Stockade. So he calls down Rain of Fire, he's got a fireball, and he'll burn a random player, inflicting a bunch of fire damage and additional fire damage over 3 seconds for 9 seconds. So one of those kind of frustrating fights when it comes to damage over time. There's a fiery core that she wants me to bring. And then we head over to the other side where the Gnolls and Hagar are. Convict number SC55, Hagar. Charges: too many to list here. I love how how they make Hagar come across as the most dangerous possible entity on all of Azeroth. This is great. Imprisoning the Riverpaw leader has come at high cost, including the partial blinding of the Warden. Fearing that Hagar might escape, Thelwater has authorized the Gnolls' termination with extreme prejudice. So he slices his target, doing physical damage, unleashes the maddening call, inflicting physical damage to all players, and when he reaches 30% health, he enrages, increasing damage dealt. So, funny little thing. In BFA, when you come here as Horde to free Talanji and Zool, you'll find just some lady in a cell with a Hagar costume. And she's like, please let me out. It was just a joke. I never intended to hurt anyone. Like, it's hilarious. Absolutely hysterical. It's like right here in BFA. And I saw that and I was just, I thought that was one of the funniest things I'd ever seen. And it's especially funny, obviously I didn't get to experience it back in the day, but I have experienced it during my time of messing around with WoW Classic. So yes, here is the dreaded, mighty evil Hagar. The most fearsome force ever known. Forest, just sit back! And there's the reference and joke to Kael'thas in Magister's Terrace. Because we killed him in the forest in vanilla, and then he returned, and he's like, it was merely a setback. Hey. Got that transmog that I never got before. Nice. It's simply too good to be true. You couldn't have killed him so easily. You are truly great heroes for vanquishing the Knoll King. People all throughout Elwyn Forest and Westfall will speak highly of your triumph for years to come. Thank you.
What can I do for you?
You've performed a deed this day that unlike any I have seen in my long career. Hogger's death will plague the River Paw for years to come, and hopefully put an end to their attacks on our people. Greatest of heroes, please take this as a sign of my eternal gratitude. So yeah, again, the idea in BFA was that they were saying that this actually wasn't Hogger. This was just somebody making a prank. Dressing up in a Hogger costume just to have a laugh. Now, whether or not the charges are against the real Hogger or against that woman, well, I'd like to hopefully think it's against Hogger, because if it's against that woman, she deserves to still be imprisoned, even if it was.
Good day to you.
Oh, thank goodness. With this fire, our men will live through this ordeal. Thank you so much, hero.
See you around.
So that is the Stormwind Stockade. Another very simple, easy, short, quick dungeon to just kind of get started. If you're just starting out, to kind of help break you into the idea of dungeons, especially if you want to play certain roles and such. Very, very well-designed dungeon for new players and such. Or if you're trying out a new class for the first time and you want to test it out maybe in a dungeon environment. Because there are some people that like to do that. They're like, out in the open world is one thing, in a dungeon is another. So, we'll be taking a look at another dungeon when we return. Stay tuned.